I hadn't seen that game against Delaware yet. They really used him like a quarterback. It looked like he threw the ball a cool 25 times. I don't know how many it was, but
Right.
it looked very accurate to me in that game. He never even came close to turning the ball over. I don't know.
No, he has. If you go through and you watch all of his film, there's going to be balls that are going to be close. But
sure, every quarterback. But in this particular game, I mean,
yep,
really not in this one. Not in this one.
Really and Delaware's one of the better teams they played all year long. So and they forced him to have to beat them.
Really nice. I just like how comfortable he is with the pro style stuff that he would have to do with the Niners. Being under center, all that stuff you got to do pre-snap, and how comfortable he is throwing on the run, and how much he protects the ball. If they have an issue with Jimmy Garoppolo, it's because of that kind of stuff, turnovers and stuff. So it would make sense to bring in someone who's actually a demonstrably better decision maker. I mean, you could quibble with some of his reads, but it's not like he ever had a play where he was about to get sacked and he just threw the ball up just because you only live once. You know what I mean? He didn't have any YOLO plays. He's not a YOLO quarterback.
Yeah, no, he doesn't have any. No, you're 100% right. No, he doesn't have any of those. He's very cautious. One of the knocks that I saw against him was that he's so cautious with the ball, and he is. There's times. There's also, like I said, on that one time where he's rolling out, he has the number 2 receiver on the deep. That's going to be a tougher throw. Instead, he takes the underneath one. It's an easy throw. Let the guy
sure.
be an athlete and make the play for you. That's
absolutely. And another quarterback I like is Kellen Mond, who's also safe. You know, like he committed only 3 turnovers, and that's the biggest knock on him too. Like, hey, air it out, take some chances. It's interesting. Everyone looks for different things in quarterbacks. I just feel like I had an epiphany this morning or yesterday with the whole decision-making thing. Like, that is the issue with Jimmy. Let's be really clear. The durability is a problem. The lack of a deep ball and mobility is a problem, but it is the turnovers and the decision-making. The fact that they took the ball out of his hands because he was throwing it around to the Vikings in the first game of the playoffs. And then I'll never get over the interception he threw in the playoffs, in the Super Bowl. I mean, you were going down, dude. Just go down. Don't throw the ball up for grabs. Joe Montana never did. It's the Super Bowl. It's the biggest game in your life, and there's no guarantee you'll ever make it back. And you were just like, hey, man, let's see who catches it. Nope.
Yeah, I really think that's one of the worst interceptions I think we've seen in the Super Bowl. I mean, just you don't really, if you go back and I don't know, but that was a really bad one, and people just kind of seem to blow that off. That's what that was a big play right there. That gave KC a 7-point lead.
And Cap threw a pick in his Super Bowl as well. It was a high pass to Randy Moss, who made no effort. I always thought that was a worse look on Randy Moss. Like, dude, try. But that's Randy Moss. And it was not a bad decision. It was a bad throw. That was the worst decision, Jimmy Garoppolo. But that's the thing with Jimmy, man. Twice or 3 times a game, bad Jimmy shows up, and you don't know when it's going to be, and he could lose the game for you, even though he's 22-8 as a starter.
Yeah. No, you definitely see that from him, and I think the other thing is, just his decision, not his decision making, but his seeing the field. I don't think is where they want it either.
Last question, then we got to go. Raymond says, Jack, love your film breakdowns. Why are people in denial about Fields' decision-making? They act like you should, like you showed some bias in your film breakdown.
Yeah, I don't really know, because the more you watch of Fields, if you watch all of his games from 2020, he really struggles when he's has to sit in the pocket and make throws. He does make some, but he also has times where he gets back there, and it's not necessarily where he makes the wrong throw, but it's because then he takes off, or he has the opportunity to throw and he runs instead because he can't seem to sit in the pocket with pressure. It's really
I see from Fields too is just a hesitation constantly. Like, everything is just a tick too slow, and it's okay. It works out. He's at Ohio State and he's got a gun, but there's the constant hesitation. And then when he's under pressure, when there's a blitz, when someone breaks through and his line doesn't block it up correctly, he can make bad plays and make them worse. I mean, you look at Indiana, there's so many plays where it's like, dude, just take the sack. It's not your fault. You didn't miss the block, where he's going on his back and he's almost on the ground and he throws it up. And it's like, man, if that's your instinct on a football field, I don't know if I can work with you, man. You might be a good quarterback, but that's going to hold you back from being great. And we're looking for greatness at the number 3 pick.
Yeah. And the thing when you talk about Justin Fields, the first thing everybody says is they bring up the Clemson game. The Clemson game was terrific. He played great in that game. but there's 7 other games of him being inconsistent throughout. Even games are winning. They're not even in the national championship game. They're not even in the playoffs probably. If the running back doesn't run for almost 300 yards against Northwestern.
Real quick, Amit says, only thing I hope Trey Lance fixes is having a more consistent base. I play quarterback. That's why someone would have extra hitches. That makes timing bad. Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to learn that part of the game. Just like Carson Wentz and Josh Allen, he's most comfortable rolling out, just like Zach Wilson too. So,
yeah. And Justin Fields is the one that actually has worse hitches. The problem that Lance has in his base is the eye level moving.
Yeah,
and he has a sinking of the hips at times when he starts to drive. So it's about keeping everything that same level. And that's really.
And what's funny is like it's just a bad habit. If I'm imagining the coach is telling him, man, you don't need to do that. You don't need extra power. You have the strongest arm of anyone in this draft, stronger arm than Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields. You don't need to do this. You got it just with your arm and your hip torque. Stop doing that.
Yep.
Stop.
Yep. Yeah. And that's like, yesterday with the one throw, everybody gets excited with that deep throw. The one throw that I saw from him yesterday that I liked was the one where he spins out to his left and he throws the little, look like a little out route. You know what I'm talking about, where he just kind of rolls out there and you just see him kind of just basically just flicks his wrist and the ball just jumps out of his hand. That one, that's the one. If you want to say anybody looks like
Josh
Patrick
Allen.
Mahomes, Allen or Patrick Mahomes. That's the one. I mean, he just kind of comes around. He flicks that ball out there, and that thing's such a tight spiral, And then they're in that dome, so every ball sounds like a slap off the guy's hand.
That when I was watching Josh Allen in college, that's what I noticed. Like, wow, he's just flicking it, and it's like, wow, I've never seen anything like that. So the more I watch Trey Lance, the more I'm impressed by his arm strength, and people that I trust question his accuracy. That's fine. Looked fine in this game, so we'll have to watch more.
Yeah, and those people that are questioning his accuracy, that's fine. That's the same question everybody had about Josh Allen, was his accuracy, right? Yep. It wasn't his decision-making. Chris Sims broke that down really nice. I don't usually listen to Chris Sims, but I caught some of his stuff people have been sending me. And he was talking about that, where with Trey Lance, you don't the difference between Josh Allen and like Justin Fields, right, was Trey when Allen was at Wyoming, you saw him making plays that he needed to make
for them to compete.
Yeah. And then as the talent around them got worse, you saw them throwing more on his plate. And so then you saw him his decision making start to tumble because he's just having to make a play.
Right.
And that's the stuff that these other guys, you see them just making some bad throws. And Trey Lance is really, really strong with that.
All right, the show is over. This is the last donation. You guys are so generous. Please stop. The show is over now. PTC says 40 times Allen 475, Mahomes 48, Jimmy G 497, Mac Jones 479. It's a difference between not having to run and not capable of running. Yeah, Jimmy G's really slow and Mac Jones is faster. That's a good point. What are you gonna say?
All I was going to say about that is I totally get the 40 times. The one thing that I really like, I think is underrated about Mac Jones is his ability to move within the pocket. He's very quick laterally. I think that comes from his tennis background. His ability to go side to side, forward and forward, that short area burst. He's very good at that. But if you ask him to take off and run a 40-yard sprint, he's not going to make it. But he's got a good burst. But
all I'm saying is if the Niners draft Mac Jones, I want to see him one-on-one against Josh Rosen in tennis, because Josh Rosen's a hell of a tennis player too. Josh Rosen might have been the great American hope if he had gone into tennis. I don't know.
That'd be great, right? Get those two guys. Heck with the ping pong tables and take him out to the tennis court.
If it's ping pong, CJ Beathard's got him. If it's tennis, I don't know.